everyone, Stephen Harrell here, and welcome to the channel. I'll be discussing horror movies for you guys in a very blunt way. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my review for Backrooms, which was released earlier this year and was directed by Kane Parsons. With Backrooms being a very familiar lore when it comes to creepypasta being now made into a feature film by A24 Films and being directed by the creator of the Backrooms series on YouTube, is no surprise that this movie was a big hit. With its small little budget, it grossed over $300 million at the box office this past week, and trust me when I say this, it was going to be a success no matter what. And of course, a lot of people have reviewed it already, and it's about time I actually reviewed it myself. So anyways, guys, here is my review for Backrooms. Before we get into the story of this film, we have to dive back into some history. Back on 4chan in 2019, this image was posted, and it was a creepy image of a building that had its photo taken in 2002, and of course it had like no lore whatsoever to it until a certain response on 4chan kicked it into gear to have a very famous lore, which is known as the Backrooms. Here is what was said. If you're not careful and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the Backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum humbuzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of random segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you. Since then, it has been announced that this is one of the most famous creepypastas of all time, and Kane Parsons ended up making this on YouTube and with a series of episodes, and it became his success. And for many people, they still believe to this day, even though it is a creepypasta 4chan post, some people actually believe that there is a Backrooms out there. And it's still one of the most popular stories out there. And finally, when it was going to be made into a feature film, everyone was excited because there's so much lore, so much characters, so much setting, so much of everything when it comes to the Backrooms. It's no surprise that this was the focal point for the film. And for a very familiar IP of it as well, it only made sense that this was going to become a film. And I'm so fucking glad it did. Now, let's get into the actual movie review. For the story of this film, it's based on the lore that we've gotten from the YouTube shorts of the Backrooms. We have a guy who discovers the Backrooms. The further he goes into it, the more he uncovers, but it's a little bit too much for a lot of other people's liking. For him, it's something he just really needs to explore. Now, when it comes to the story of this film, of course, we all have the lore with the Backrooms on YouTube. We have everything that we have on the knowledge, but this adds a little bit more to it. I mean, we have the company Async attached to this as well. We have new characters that are brought into the movie itself, and with the story, it works and kind of fits in perfectly with what we have seen on YouTube as of late, or in recent years. I mean, like, this story just fits with the rest that we've already come to see and love for over the years before this film ever came out. So the story works out very well in its favor. And again, the Backrooms, when it comes to its story, you can spread this apart in so many different avenues. And this story just happened to work for it. Our main protagonist in this movie is Clark, who works at the Captain Clark's furniture warehouse. He is dealing with a lot of shit in his life. I mean, he has been kicked out of his house, his marriage is on the rocks, he's facing foreclosure and bankruptcy, and he's just running this dinky little fucking furniture store that no one seems to come to. And then he discovers the Backrooms, where, again, he is a very flawed individual. Of course, he also failed as an architect. That was his dream job, and he just kind of fucking sits there and discovers the Backrooms and is enamored with it. The more times he is spent in there, the more drawn he is, the more he's invested in it, and then you start seeing what kind of a character he really ends up becoming. Now, I really dug his character in this movie, and with the Backrooms lore, it's also very fitting. He could fit into this story very well, and with his performance in this film, it's very, very good for what it is, especially when it gets further and further down the road with his character, because I mean, he's attending therapy, and on top of that, he has to do role play with his therapist, which I will get to. And when we finally see him for the last time in this movie, he is a completely different person, and it makes you question what really happened with his wife. And other than that, it's a good fucking performance. We have our other main protagonist in this film, Mary, who is the therapist for Clark. She has her own damaged past, which is rocky to say the least, with her mother, and she goes about her day just how anyone else would, especially suffering from childhood trauma. Now, of course, she also discovers the Backrooms after Clark's ramblings about it, and she's enamored by it, but she knows there's something off about this place. This place shouldn't even exist. And her performance in this movie is definitely also one that really grips you, and it makes you really get invested in her character. And when it's at the end of the film, when you see what she has to have gone through this whole ordeal with Clark and the Backrooms itself, and now the async fucking company, it's very daunting to even say that, hey, does she even get out of there alive? Not known for sure, but with her performance in this film, it is fucking good to see. You also have other side characters in this movie, like Kat and Bobby, who work at the furniture store. They are basically just here for cannon fodder. They're basically just for the body count for the movie. But their characters are just, of the time period this movie is set in, it works, ironically, because it's like, yeah, they're dressed up like the time period, their mannerisms of the time period, and how they just are like off the rocks thinking, okay, this guy's like fucking nuts, and then they discover the Backrooms, and they fucking also are freaked out by it. Like, even just being in the one room when they get in there, they're freaked the fuck out about it and doing the exploring themselves. So the side characters, including the async employee, who a lot of us horror fans would know who that guy is. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a nice little fun cameo. Other than that, the side characters all work very well. But if there's any important character of this movie, it is the Backrooms itself. I am thoroughly impressed with the fact that this is actually real physical rooms built in a warehouse on a set. It doesn't really matter. They didn't use any green screen, no CGI. These are real fucking rooms. And even some actors had gone on record to say that they can get lost in there. It's mind-numbing. And how they portray it in this movie just works so fucking well. I'm so happy to have seen what they were able to do. Personally, for me, I just absolutely love the fact that the Backrooms, all the rooms, of course, they have to be different in architectural aspects, and seeing how they all look, especially some of them are a little bit grungier. There's a very dirty, disgusting room down in the depths of the Backrooms. There's also so many abstract fucking sceneries with the Backrooms themselves. I know there's a lot of people who watch the lores and watch all the videos of YouTube of the Backrooms itself that Kane Parsons has brought in, and they are wondering if this is in the movie, if that's in the movie. Well, some of your guys' questions are answered in this film when it comes to the Backrooms themselves. But other than that, I was much of a fan of the Backrooms, and seeing this get projected onto the big screen, especially watching it in 4DK. Now, in 4DK, of course, our seats moved whenever we were doing the camcorder footage, and when there is a fluorescent light flickering on screen, there's a light flickering in our theater, and a lot of people got unnerved by that in my audience, and that was fucking cool. But the Backrooms itself as a character is so mesmerizing to see. Like, it takes your breath away, even just plain simple yellow walls and everything, but seeing how the rooms are and seeing what's a part of those rooms, it's fucking fascinating to see. There's not much gore and kills in this movie. Now, I believe this was a PG-13 or 14A for the rating. But other than that, like, it's not much of the gore and the kills that make this movie. It's the atmosphere and the scares themselves. I mean, the atmosphere with the rooms and the anomalies in the rooms, the still creatures, even just certain things. Like, there is one room in the movie, it's like at the end of the movie, that our one protagonist is being chased by an anomaly, and it literally fucking got my anxiety through the fucking roof. I mean, like, there was a moment, because I'm sitting there with my daughter and she's watching the movie, and we enter this fucking big ass room, and what this protagonist has to do, I was like sitting there in my seat like this, like, oh, no, I do not fucking like, my nerves were fucking shot. And just everything about how that scene is, if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about, especially for someone who is afraid of falling from great heights, and, you know, the security that you need to have. I fucking didn't like that scene, but this movie's scares, they're fucking good. The tension that you build from this film is good. It's just, yeah, it does lack kills. And, I mean, you don't have to have gore all over the fucking place, but less is more, as they say. But this movie, you kind of wish there was more. And that would have been something impressive to watch. So, you know, when it was announced that Backrooms was being made into a feature film from A24, was fucking... I was there, man. I was like, I'm gonna go watch this fucking movie. I'm excited for this movie. It's one of the few movies I was excited for in 2026. And walking out of the theater, especially with the aesthetic that this takes place in 1990, like, everything you see, from the couches to the cupboards to the dressers, the rooms, the carpet, the paint, lamps, everything, even the vehicles. It was like, you know, I know that. I grew up and I seen that. That's familiar to me. That's familiar to me. It all worked with the characters that we got, the back rooms being portrayed the way they should have been. Just being able to see the tension and anxiety that fucking gripped me in that one scene and everything was great. I mean, the only downfall is that there's not enough kills in the movie, and maybe the runtime could have been maybe just a little bit longer, or, you know, the pacing could have been done better. But other than that, walking away from this movie was a great fucking experience, especially for my daughter, because she's like, this is now, what, the third, fourth horror movie you've taken me to, Dad, and this is the one where she's like being immersed with the Backrooms lore, and she was excited for it. Now she wants me to go watch it with her again, so we'll see about that. But this is a movie I was highly anticipating would be good. Just like Obsession, I thought it was going to be, okay, this might be interesting, but then I walked away from that movie fucking blown away. But Backrooms is a different story. I'm glad it's getting the success it is getting, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for this whole creepypasta known as the Backrooms. So guys, for my rating, I'm going to give Backrooms an 8.5 out of 10. So tell me, guys, have you seen Backrooms, and did you enjoy it yourself? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you get notified by all the videos coming out on the channel. Anyways, that's it for me. This is Stephen Harold. I will talk to you guys later, and remember to stay spooky, and be careful not to wander into the Backrooms.